Okay, I really wanted to like this. I really did. I really wanted to like this. I promise you. I wanted to love this album, but unfortunately, I do not. And I will explain why. I'm not going to hate on this album, but LCD Soundsystem are one of the most exciting bands of this century, to be honest. They have an incredibly strong discography. Their first three albums are near perfect in my opinion. I think their first album is very good. Just a few tracks went on a little long, and the album's runtime went on a little long too. But they cleaned that up on Sound of Silver. They kept it more concise, made some of their best ever songs on there. And then This Is Happening, which was meant to be their last album, was pretty damn good too. Probably the best of that year it came out, 2010, I think. So, you know, their discography is fantastic, and I think maybe this album probably was a bit unnecessary. I know they've got to pay the bills, but they did make this big grand closing like of the band tour. You know, they did the Madison Square Gardens tour, so it was like, it was the end of the band. But they've come back and that's absolutely fine. I didn't think that this album's going to be terrible just because of that. I know Fantano went on a bit of a rant about this, but I think he was a bit over the top with that. So I still thought there was potential in this after Call the Police, because I think that's the best song on this album, to be honest. Call the Police was a great track. American Dream is another solid track too. I think lyrically, American Dream is definitely the strongest of the two, where he's kind of talking about a one night stand in the song and regretting and wanting to find his one true love type thing. But Call the Police is musically like LCD Soundsystem at their best with the way it progresses along. Sort of reminds me of All My Friends in that kind of way. And while I'm talking about some of the best ones, I may as well keep going with some of my favorites because I think Tonight is a great track as well. Probably the melodically the most exciting track on the whole album. And also How Do You Sleep, which I wasn't really into when it first started, but as the track moves along, like I love the way the music progresses. I think by the end of the song it gets so good, and I really love that. But unfortunately, the first half is pretty weak in my opinion. And that's really it for the tracks that I think are the best. I don't know. I think I used to. The way with the percussion like rides the track, I think isn't the best choice for the band. I think that is a bit weak. The way like the thudding drums kind of ride the beat. I don't think that should have been the choice they made. I think it should have been more melodic and James's high falsetto vocals at the end of the track are pretty weak as well. I'm still trying to wake up. I think Other Voices isn't that bad. Again, melodically, it's quite a decent track, but it just feels like a watered down version of their previous songs, honestly. It's like not as exciting as the dancier tracks that they've done before, so it's not really something I want to return to. The opening track is pretty nice, I must admit. It's got quite a nice sound to it. But, I think lyrically is where this track is the strongest point. Like, that is the strongest point of the track, with for sure. But that's my biggest issue with this album, I think, is that on the rest of the songs where the lyrics are the prominent part, I don't feel that invested in the lyrics, to be honest. And that's the thing, because I'm not that interested in the album musically, for the most part anyway. I've listed a few songs that I think are really good. But if I'm not interested in the music, then I can't get myself invested in the lyrics, and I think there needs to be a mix of both for the album to be a solid album. And I don't think the album reaches a good mix of both, honestly, especially on that 12-minute closing track, which musically is pretty dead. And again, I just can't find myself caring about the lyrics if the music isn't compelling. Going back to the track How Do You Sleep though, this one seems quite interesting lyrically. Apparently this one is about the DFA co-founder who was sued by LCD Soundsystem and DFA because apparently he didn't quite perform any of the services that he was supposed to be paid for. So this one is about him, which is quite an interesting track, I suppose. And Call the Police goes a little into politics, the current state of the US. I talked about that in my track review of the song, if you want to check that out. But Again, I think that is one of the stronger tracks, but overall, I don't know, I think fans are overrating this album, honestly. I think it's the fans that are saying how good this is. This, to me, is nowhere near on par with any of their previous albums. Lyrically, sure, it is much more serious than their previous work. I have to appreciate LCD Soundsystem for that. But the thing is, I think there has to always be a mixture of both. There has to be good lyrics and good music. And what if one outweighs the other, then for me, I'm usually not going to return to an album based on that. You have to have a good mix, and for me, musically, this is where the album weakens. I think American Dream basically answers the question to what is LCD Soundsystem's worst album. I don't know, this is just okay. It's okay. If you love it, of course, keep listening to it. Yep, that's great. For me, not loving it, honestly. In my grading scale, I would say this is a C minus, to be honest. A little underwhelming, boring at points even as well with some of the music, but I don't know. It's just okay. Some pretty high highs, but quite low lows to go with it too. But hey, let me know what you think of this album in the comments. If you hate me now, tell me you hate me. If you like this review, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Tell me what I should review next, and have a good day.